Tamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato Jaya mudirayet nashtaprayesha baddeshu nitya bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki. So, Hare Krishna, we'll be starting today on a journey of Krishna Lila, or particularly Damodara Lila, for the next, few weeks. And because Kartik is approaching, and it will happen in a week, 7th of October, so we'll be speaking from different scriptures, and particularly I'll be guided by Sanatana Goswami's commentary on Damodara Ashtakam. Damodara Ashtakam will be singing every evening, I don't know, morning and evening? At least evening, minimum. So, and offering ghee lamps, and we'll be hearing about Krishna's pastimes as a child, particularly this Damodar Lila. So today I will speak a little bit introduction about Krishna's pastimes, and particularly childhood pastimes of Krishna, and relationship between parenthood, rasa, relationship between Yamadi Yashoda and Krishna, and Devaki and Krishna. So we'll be reading from the text 10:8:45 today. Traya chaponi shadbishcha Traya chopani shadbishcha Sankhya yoga ischa sattvatai Sankhya yoga ischa sattvatai Upagiyamana mahatmyam Upagiyamana mahatmyam Harim samanyatatmajam Harim samanyatatmajam Traya chopanishadbhishcha Sankhya yoga ischa sattvatai Upagiyamana mahatmyam Harim samanyatatmajam. Traya chopanishadbhishcha Traya chopanishadbhishcha Ladies. Noch jemand? Ne? Traya, by studying the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. Cha, also, Upanishadbihi, Cha, and by studying the Vedic knowledge of the Upanishads. Sankhya Yogai, by reading the literature of Sankhya Yoga. Cha, and Sattvatai, by the great sages and devotees, or by reading Vaishnava Tantra. Pancharatras. Upagiyamana Mahatmyam, whose glories are worshipped by all these Vedic literatures. Harim, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa, she, amanyata, considered ordinary. Atmaja, as her own son. Translation. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet, Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. One more time. The glories, this is the translation one more time. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet, Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadama Yam Dadati Svapadantikam. I did not read the purport because there's a purport written by Hridayananda Maharaj, and then also I was reading the purports of Vishwan Chakravarti Thakur Jiva Goswami, so I'll merge these purports into one and I will narrate because the reading will be long. So, this verse is a very interesting verse. Actually, this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, our great acharya in our line, is considered this verse he called this verse Prabhasa Sutra of Krishna Lila. So Prabhasa Sutra is a term used in Panini grammar. And this Prabhasa means interpretive rule. Like, for example, because sometimes you can have overlap rules. You know, there are different things. And sometimes also people wonder, is Krishna supreme or is he child? Or if he's the Supreme Lord, how can he be a child? Or how can he be, how can you have a relationship on spontaneous love? Therefore, some religions cannot understand how do we worship the Lord. Because for them, the Lord is the supreme, Allahu Akbar, He's up there in the sky, and we have just to be humble. And then in our tradition, we accept both. You can see the tattva, you read the tattva, aham sarasa prabhavo, mata saram pravatate. So Krishna says, I'm everything. At the same time, He is also relating to, on a friendship rasa, of a Vatsalya rasa. So these are the overlapping principles. And therefore, Prabhasa Sutra, as they call it, Prabhasa Sutras, serve to make a precedence. This is how you should look at things. So, for example, here, it says that this is a guiding principles to interpret, prioritize, and resolve conflict between the grammatical rules. So sometimes we don't understand, but this particular Prabhasa Sutras. So just as in a grammar, Prabhasa Sutra is telling us how to understand and apply rules, in the Bhagavatam, Paribhasa shlokas use this as a lens through which to understand all other verses. And anybody knows what is the Paribhasa Sutra for the whole Shrimad-Bhagavatam? This is announced by Jiva Goswami. Yes. Ete chamsa kalapum sam Krishna stu bhagavan swayam indra rivyakyam loke vridayanti yuge yuge. This is the one verse of which all Srimad-Bhagavatam is based. Because sometimes you can read Upanishad, sometimes you can read some other scriptures, and there's a confusion. Is Krishna personal? Is he impersonal? But here, this is the guiding verse. Krishna is Ete Chamsa. There's so many incarnations, so many different, expansions or aspects of Krishna, but Krishna is Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna himself, this is the highest. So this is a Paribhasa Sutra for the whole Srimad-Bhagavatam. Also, we have some other Paribhasa Sutras, not officially announced, but also emphasized. For example, Paribhasa Sutra for the purpose of Srimad-Bhagavatam. What is the purpose of Srimad-Bhagavatam? Every book, when we read, like Shastra, there's a purpose to it. A purpose of Srimad-Bhagavatam is Savai pumsan paro dharmo yato bhaktira dokshaje ahai tuki apratihata yaya atma suprasidati. So, the The supreme dharma for all humanity is that which brings about loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. So this is paradharma. So by reading Srimad-Bhagavatam, we understand why are we reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. We're reading Srimad-Bhagavatam to actually develop this loving devotional service. That's the purpose of reading Srimad-Bhagavatam. Not to have a nice story or to, this is also part of it, but overlapping, the purpose is to actually develop love for Krishna. So this is the very high, high standards we have, Another, I thought also, example of a Paribhasa Sutra is, there's so many, there's a few others emphasized by Sridhar Swami, old Acharya, who is commentator of Srimad-Bhagavatam. But this Paribhasa Sutra, what we are reading, 10.8.45, this is the Paribhasa Sutra. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Vishwanath Chakravarti announced this verse as a Paribhasa Sutra for Krishna's childhood pastimes. So because sometimes it's very difficult to understand how can Krishna, Lord Brahma, for example, could not understand how can Krishna be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a little child holding rice in his left hand, because in India, left hand is not used. When I remember, very young devotee, and I was serving prasadam, and there was people were in line, and I had two ladles, and I served it left and right, and then the people like, no left, Prabhu, no left, isn't it? No left hand in India. So I had to serve like this, No left hand in. And Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with left hand, he's eating rice, then he gives to his friends a little bit. And Lord Brahma was confused. What's going on? What kind of God is this? But this Paribhasa Sutra, this verse here, explains that this childhood pastime is actually higher than studying through 3 Vedas, the Upanishads, Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. So Hridayananda Maharaj uses this famous verse from 15:15 Bhagavatam that says, Vedescha sarvair aham eva vedyo. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedanta krit vedavit eva chaham. I am actually the ultimately knower of the Vedas, and I'm the end of Vedanta. I'm the end of all the Vedas. The end of all knowledge is to actually find Krishna and to relate to him in this one of the 5 rasas. So this is like an amazing thing. So this, if you have this in mind, then it will be easier to understand. So the purpose of the Vedas, it is described, there's a 3 purposes of the Vedas. To understand Krishna, relationship with Krishna, which is sambandha. Then to act according to this sambandha, meaning to act, to relate to Krishna in the service relationship is abhideya. And ultimately, to reach the ultimate goal, which is prayojana. So Krishna is actually beyond these 3. The relationship of Madhya Yashoda is beyond these 3. I just want to first emphasize the glories of Madhya Yashoda, how actually glorious personality Madhya Yashoda is. Although she's outwardly a simple village woman, I cannot imagine that she would write or read. Village people, they don't read. My grandmother, she didn't know how to write, really. She could sign her name, but she couldn't really write. Why would they need writing in the village? For what? You don't speak to your cow or to your goat. You don't write. This is simple language. And we see, when we go to India, still there's some leftovers, not so much left, but the villages of Vrindavan, people are very simple, very kind of a little bit gross. There's no there like, oh, Hare Krishna, please accept my words. Hey, oh. But they speak like this because this is how they speak to their animals. If you see the buffaloes entering the pond, because buffaloes like water, so they don't say, can you please leave the water? They say, shouting. And buffalo, this is the language buffalo understands. So this is how they communicate. This is the village people communicate like this. I was also a few years ago, I had the opportunity to do some service in Govardhan. And my assistant who was driving me around and who had a little rickshaw, you know, this small now electric rickshaw. He would drive me wherever I needed to go. And he was from the village, from Anior. I liked him. He was so rough. He was like, and he said, come here, I have four children. Char bacha. Yes, very loud, very open. And once we went to, because we were supposed to feed some sadhus with some boga, dal and rice. So we bring it to different places in Govardhan where different sadhus live. So there was a Vaishnava group of few Vaishnava devotees, very versteckt, you know, behind somewhere. It was very difficult to find, but we went around through this little, he went. And then, so there was three of us, and this one devotee tried to knock because the gate was closed. Not the gate, you know, they have a guitar. Guitar? Huh? Gutter? Fence. The fence on the door, so the monkeys cannot come in. So he was banging this, bang, 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 nothing happened, you know. And he said, Haribol, whatever his name was, nothing happened. So the guy came, nothing happened. And then the driver, he said, hurry, so loud. And immediately they came out. I was thinking, this is the language people understand. So I'm just a little bit exaggerating to show how this is the village people. And the Samadhi Yashoda is Nanda Maharaj, all these cowherd boys, they're simple village people. So when you look at this, you think like, how are these people advanced? But according to the ontologically or shastrically, or from the platform of tattva, these are actually the most advanced devotees. This is the highest stage of spiritual realization. This is such a, strong opinion. And you said, this is, you know, some people are very advanced, and some people are gurus, and that's very advanced. And we were reading this recently. Radhanath Maharaj was visiting different sadhus before he became Hare Krishna devotee. In India, he would go to different sadhu. He would go to a sadhu who had mystic powers, and his disciples in the morning, as an exercise, they would levitate. Imagine, you know, we come chant our rounds, and everybody's like, and you say, excuse me, can I? You know? I mean, people are levitating as a morning exercise. And the Swami, the Guru, was very mystical person. So when Maharaj Radhanath Swami came to him, he knew immediately who he was, what he wants, everything. He didn't need to speak, you know. And he asked Radhanath Maharaj to stay with him to become his disciple. Radhanath Maharaj said, sorry, I will not be. No, actually, he didn't say anything. He said, I will think about it. And next morning, he was coming to tell him that he feels very sorry, that doesn't want to offend him, but he cannot. And the Swami, he knew everything. He said, I know. He said, just go and be happy. He gave him blessings. So these are the very highly, you know, mystical people, elevated people. And out of all these elevated people, and also we have this Trivedis, Chaturvedis, the Shastra. I was also some years ago, I studied a little bit, I read this book, but I forgot his name. This thing is very famous, Shankaracharya sannyasi, Chandrasekhar, something, I forgot exactly, Chandrasekhar Shankara, something like this. Amazing scholar, who was defending the Vedas from the Buddhism over atheism. And of course, we don't agree with Mayavadi philosophy, but amazing Sanskrit scholar. So all these people, amazing scholars, studying the Vedas, Upanishads, Sankhya Yoga, all these like wonderful, amazing personalities, they cannot even self-realize. It says even those who are on a prayojana, who have reached the ultimate goal of life, meaning who have achieved liberation, even they cannot come close to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda is the epitome of the highest spiritual realization of all times. Simple village woman who cannot read, who is wondering is her milk going to boil or not. This is like an amazing, you can say, paradox, and therefore we need verses like this, Paribhava Sutras, so that we can understand, to be guided towards this direction. And at the same time, for us to understand that this is not a cheap thing. Okay, Krishna, baby, I'm a mother, I have a child, so I'm also mother, I'm also like Yashoda, No, this Madhya Yashoda is actually a transcendental personality, completely transcendental personality. Anyways, so so this is the highest. And another thing is interestingly enough, that Madhya Yashoda is imbued with Krishna prema. As Prabhupada also quoted several times, Lord Chaitanya quoted several times. This is actually a verse from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur from his Chaitanya Mata Manjusha book, glorifying Lord Chaitanya, explaining. It's a very nice verse. I have to just read it because you will recognize the Sanskrit, those who read Prabhupada's books. Aradhya Bhagavan Vraje Chaitanyas Tadama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita Shrimad-Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartamahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradharana Paraha. We know at least three lines of this verse. Prabhupada quoted many times. And it says that Aradhya Bhagavan Vraja, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is worshipped along with his transcendental Vrindavan. So again, Vrindavan is not just an ordinary place. Vrindavan is actually not different from Krishna. We know that everything is connected to Krishna. Prabhupada says many times, Krishna's name, fame, qualities, his dham are not different from Krishna. So therefore, when we go to Shivindavan Dham, we behave or we think, I'm actually entered the altar. Like Krishna is the Krishna. This is not different from Krishna. Instead of whatever, I'm not going to down into MVT and restaurants and everything, but the purpose of going to Shivindavan Dham is to associate with Krishna. Then, Ramya Kachitu Pasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita. This is the famous verse, famous line. The most pleasing form of worship for the Lord, that which was performed by the gopis of Vrindavan. This is the most pleasing to Krishna. So therefore the gopis are the most glorious personalities, and the Vrindavan Dham is the most glorious. Jaya Shri Nrsimhadeva ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. So these are the highest, that there's no higher than this in the spiritual realm. Although Srila Vishwanath Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami said that in reality there's no really comparison, because on a spiritual level everything is absolute. It is only in the material world that is compared. Who is going to get the ghee lamp first? And they say, "Oh, I'm a senior devotee. I'm 6 months older than you in the Krishna consciousness. I need the ghee lamp first." Sometimes we are joking. Devotees who join, there was one devotee who joined 2 weeks before me. Yeah, he's an older devotee. This is a joke. But the point is that we have our orders here. Who is higher? Who is lower? In spiritual world, there is no such a thing. Worshipping on Lakshmi Narayan is on the same, you can say, level as worshipping with Krishna Vrindavan, because it's the transcendental. So you cannot see that people in Vaikuntha Loka, they think, oh, this Goloka Vrindavan is better, I should go there. There's no such thing. They're completely, fully absorbed in Sachit and Ananda, bliss, eternity, and knowledge. And therefore, there's no problem. Like if you would eat huge meal, all the things you love, I don't know, pizza, what's your favorite food? And you eat so much, and somebody comes and eats another sandwich, and you think, okay, I'm happy with my pizza, and he's happy with his sandwich. So it's something like this. I have to banalize it to make it so. But this is what it is. And therefore, there's no overlapping. Madhya Yashoda doesn't think, oh, gopis are better than me. I should become a gopi to worship. There's no such a thing. Or gopas, they don't, indeed, some gopas, some friends of Krishna, helping Krishna to meet the gopis in the night. They don't think, I want to become a gopi. It is only in the material world where we think, I want the best. I want the most expensive. I want the best. I want the highest. So, in this, but Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami said, for the sake of comparison, just for our minds, Goloka Vrindavan is the highest. So Goloka Vrindavan is the highest, and the gopi, worshipping of gopis is the highest. There's no higher spiritual realization. Then, Shrimad-Bhagavatam pramanam amalam yad pramanam amalam prema pumarto mahan. Shrimad-Bhagavatam is the spotless authority on everything. So Shrimad-Bhagavatam is the highest literature. There's so many books, and there's this book and that book, but Shrimad-Bhagavatam is the book. So for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, this is our book, Shrimad-Bhagavatam. Of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita falls into this. Bhagavad Gita also falls, purported by Prabhupada, of course. But Shrimad-Bhagavatam, the philosophy of Shrimad-Bhagavatam falls into this. This is the highest. And this is what we come to. Prema Pumarto Mahan. The goal of life for all people is Krishna Prema, as we say in the morning. To quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema, everybody's. Like, you drink some nice beverage, Krishna Prema, But Krishna Prema is actually the highest achievement for every human being. Krishna Prema. He said, these statements, this is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives this. This is it. This is the core of what are we doing, what do we try to achieve. This is it, right there. These 3-4 things. Vrindavan, the worship of the Vrijbasis, Shrimad-Bhagavatam, Prema. This is what it is. And interesting enough, that Mother Yashoda is actually reached that level of Prema. So therefore, Mother Yashoda is the most elevated devotee. And in the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada actually commented Shrimad-Bhagavatam only, I think, up to that chapter. What is the chapter? Last chapter, 10.1, I think Srila Prabhupada commented. And then after this, other disciples of Srila Prabhupada have commented. Kridananda Maharaj and Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu. And Prabhupada says, when there was description of Mother Yashoda, how she's churning butter and how she's cooking milk, he said, anybody who is aspiring to this rasa of parental love, should read and study pastimes of Mother Yashoda. So if you're inspired, this is the way to do it. Read about Mother Yashoda, because we should follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. And particularly, Rupa Goswami said, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also said in Ragavatma Chandrika, that one devotee who comes to a platform to develop deeper relationship or love with Krishna, that devotee takes one example of a dear devotee in Vrindavan and follow in this devotee's footsteps. So if you have an attraction to become a gopi, then you read about gopis. If you have attraction to be a parental, you read about Mother Yashoda, and so on. They go also in Krishna book. There's a description of the cowherd boys and so on. So this is it, you can say. So this was a little bit, you can say, philosophical part. Why are we worshipping this pastime of Yashoda and Krishna, of Yashoda and Damodara? How important it is, and how, you can say, high that realization is. So this is the first part. Any questions so far? Yes, Sanjay. Yes.
Everything is energy, and in that sense, concept, everything is one with him also. And then later on you mentioned that his name, pastime, his place.
No different from him.
So in which sense what is the difference between that kind of non-different and that kind?
The difference is in rasa and tattva. When we said aham sarvasva, everything is I am everything, Krishna says, aham sarvasva. Prabhu, that means that this is tattva, the philosophical part. Everything is Krishna, everything is not different from Krishna. Because, philosophically, some people don't understand that everything is Krishna. Even religious people, they don't understand that everything is Krishna. They differentiate this world, then when we leave this material world, then we go to heavens, and then our dog will wait for us there, and our wife, whatever the story was, they're different religious denominations. They have a separation from the material world and spiritual world. But Krishna said, there is no separation, I'm everything. So this is a tattva, philosophical part. And when we say Krishna is no different from Krishna's name, Krishna's fame, Krishna's dham is no different. This is also tattva, but from rasa point of view. This is the point of Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead in his particular rasa in Vrindavan. This is what it is. Because then there's a special, relationship when we think about Krishna. For example, when we go to Vrindavan Dham, we think about Krishna in his childhood pastimes or his flute playing pastime. So therefore, this is also, although this is like tattva, at the same time it's a relationship with Krishna in this particular rasa. And this, when you say everything is Krishna, this is just a pure philosophical point. Just philosophical point.
The specialty is that those things actually remind us of Krishna.
Yes.
And help us to develop the relationship.
Yes. So therefore it's a rasa, you could say. I had some years ago, I asked Virabahu Prabhu, he was my mentor for some time, and a senior devotee is a Prabhupada disciple, and he's a spiritual master since 1980s. And I asked him about Bhagavad Gita. I don't remember what exactly what I asked him. I said, how is, sometimes Krishna says this here, and then in Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna says this, worship me or something. So how, this is not a philosophical point. Then he explained to me that everything has to be looked from these two, rasa and tattva. Like for example, when Krishna speaks to Arjuna, this is the rasa, this is a friendship. He speaks to him like he's a friend. I just realized recently, I was reading, well, Krishna is actually speaking to him as what a friend will speak to me. Because we do Bhagavad Gita, serious book. But Krishna actually speaks to his friend. No, this is what it is. This is how it is. This is a friendly relationship. This is the rasa. But then he speaks to tattva, whatever. Aham bija pradapita, whatever the philosophical points are there. But he speaks to Arjuna as in this kind of level, on a personal level. So this has to be kind of always, and therefore we need this paribhasa, these sutras, that we can understand from which platform Krishna is speaking, and then we can understand how is Krishna speaking. Otherwise, there will be so many contradictions that we will be, well, this is not proper, and then we, like this was some years ago, maybe 25 years ago in Russia. At that time, they were making case against the Hare Krishna movement. They wanted to bring us to the court. I think they brought Hare Krishna movement to the court. The priests from the Orthodox religion, they said this is a demoniac religion, the Hare Krishna. And they give a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, everywhere his teeth, everywhere. And then he's all these soldiers, Krishna chew all the soldiers with his teeth, and he killed everybody. And he said, this is your God, this is your demoniac God. So of course devotees refuted. It's completely nonsense, because they don't understand what is the actually guiding principle of this. All right, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. My question is, you mentioned these points for devotees who are in the spiritual realm, even in Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, that is perfect for them, their situation.
Yes.
You mentioned the pizza and sandwich example also. It's understandable.
Yes.
It is logical. But long ago I heard, I don't know if it's correct or not, but please elaborate on it, that you can also go higher. For example, from Vaikuntha, you could go also to Goloka Vrindavan. Is it possible, or is it, necessary, may not, but, or you know something more about this topic?
Yes, thank you. In the book called Nitya, Sanatana Goswami's book, Bhagavatamrita, it is described how Gopakumara was going from Vaikuntha to Rama Loka, Ayodhya, from Ayodhya to Dwaraka. But the reason why he went, because he was not fully his heart was not fully happy. His heart was not satisfied. That is the reason. But if people are satisfied, they don't need to go anywhere. This was the high point I made earlier. So theoretical. It's not like the spiritual world. It is again described. It's absolute freedom. You can assume any form you want. It was really description of Vaikuntha Loka for me. It was shocking. That some people are having form of a particular avatar they like Varaha. You have a form of a boar because you like Varaha there. Some people are having form of a sage because they worship Krishna as a sage, or Krishna, Narayan Rishi, whatever. So then they have a form of a sage. Some people have, this form and that form, different types of forms. And what was most interesting to me was some people have the form of Virat Rupa. How does that look like? Virat Rupa, Imagine, you have everywhere millions of eyes, millions of, and the space is also different, and so this is unimaginable things for us. A devotee is a form of Virat Rupa. Haribol. So in the spiritual world there's absolute freedom. You can do anything, and it is said also when they asked Narada Muni, how is this possible that you were there? Gopakumar asked him, when I was in heavenly planets, you were there. Then I was in Shiva Loka, you were there. I was in Vaikuntha, you were there. How is it possible that you're everywhere? Are you going like really fast, like traveling, like Narada Muni from Vaikuntha Lokas is really, yes, this is behind the corner, GPS. Oh, this is Vaikuntha. But Narada Muni answered, no. He said, just like Lord can expand in as many forms as He wants, we can expand. As devotees, they expand in as many forms. And he gives the example of Madhya Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and other associates of Krishna. Whenever Krishna expands into material world, they all expand with him in as many places as possible and as many Lilas as in universes as he does this. This is a little bit. This is mind-boggling for us. How do you imagine you expand in 1,000 forms? How is this possible? But then Narada Muni said, for the devotee of the Lord, nothing is impossible because he's free, because he's always with the Lord. He acquires the qualities of the Lord. So meaning that you can assume any form, but out of your satisfaction to worship the Lord in this particular form, you stay in this form. You are a cowherd boy or whatever you are, of water. Because someone was saying, why is water, in a stream in Vrindavan? I want to be a gopi. I don't want to be a stream. Or I don't want to be a fruit. Somebody asked me recently, what's happened to the fruit? If you eat the fruit, but this fruit is also a person. How do you eat a person? So I tried to find the answer. The answer is that this is a mystical thing that we cannot understand. And because this fruit is very happy. Like in ecstasy, the devotees eating it or whatever, all these ladus, whatever these cowherd boys eat or Krishna eats. But at the same time, this is devotee. So for us, it's difficult to understand because we cannot understand. So as once one devotee asked Indra, famous kirtan singer, what happened to this? They asked him about gopis, and Indra answered, go there and you will find out. So this is the answer. We have a general idea and descriptions of Goloka Vrindavan and Vaikunthas, but it is described. Gopakumar actually said in one of the verses when he went to Vaikuntha, he said, "There's so many things is happening here, but I don't have words to describe it. You cannot describe with words, and people cannot understand. So we'll be happy. We are happy what we're doing right now, and then we can hopefully at least the end of his life and try to think of Krishna and go back there, and then we will be coming back and say, oh, tell me, let me know how it was it. And then he said, well, it was like this, like this, like this. Yes.
Thank you very much. That was a really satisfactory answer. Can you please, this is maybe a little bit a further topic, but maybe shortly elaborate on it, how one's particular rasa to Krishna can appear or is appearing. Somehow it's there are different aspects, how the rasa is coming up.
This is a technical thing, and I don't want to talk about this because Prabhupada did not talk much about this. And there are some controversial ideas because according to we call it Babaji line, I don't know how else to call it. The devotees who are Babajis, meaning in the line of particular of Nityananda, Vamsha, or whatever, Advaita, they are following and they have one idea and they say, how is it? And then there's some other people who say some other ways. In the book called Jaya Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that there are two ways you can say of achieving perfection. One is called Smaranam, meditation. This was given by Gopal Guru Goswami. Gopal Guru Goswami is an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Gopal Guru Goswami is given like a Smaranam meditation. Like, this is the so-called Babaji line. This is where that's come from. Gopal Guru, you know Gopal Guru Goswami? Gopal Guru Goswami is a disciple of Lord Chaitanya in one sense. He was a child, 5 years old child, and he was already very knowledgeable in Rasa Shastras. And Lord Chaitanya was once in the bathroom. You know, of course, nowadays we have bathrooms, but then there were just people going to the forest. So Lord Chaitanya was going to the bathroom in the forest, and because Lord Chaitanya was on his mouth were always the Hare Krishna mantra as a dancing on his lips. It is described by various acharyas. So Lord Chaitanya would chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, but then if he would go to bathroom, he said he would bite his lips because he did not want to chant Hare Krishna, you know, in the bathroom. We don't bring books in the bathroom. We don't read Bhagavatam in the toilet. And so little Gopal, his name was Gopal, walked by and he said, Are, what are you doing? You're supposed to chant Hare Krishna always. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you know, I cannot chant because this is a toilet, impure place. And he says, you don't have an understanding what the holy name is. The holy name is so pure that it cannot be contaminated by toilet. So Lord Chaitanya said, wow, you're right. You're actually fit to be a guru. And from that day on, they call him Gopal Guru. You know. So Gopal Guru is a very special associate of Lord Chaitanya. And when Lord Chaitanya left the planet visibly, the leader of the Vaishnavas became Gopal Guru. So Gopal Guru is a very important personality in our line. So according to Gopal Guru, the Guru gives you so-called Ekadashi Bhava. Ekadashi means 11 attributes. He gives you your form, you're a gopi, you're a manjari, you're 11 years old or 12 years old. Your color, your clothes color is blue with the stars on it. Your family is in this village, and so on and so forth. So he gives you this, and your activity is to pick up the forest flowers for Krishna. And then he gives you the meditation. This is your meditation. You meditate when you serve Krishna that you are that. So by meditating on this, you become this. This is this line. So then we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained, then there's a line of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is the line of ecstatic chanting. By chanting Hare Krishna, we became so ecstatic that everything will reveal automatically to us. Our form, our rasa, our relationship, our service, everything will reveal to us. So we take this stance of Raghunath Das Goswami because there's so much can be used and abused in this other line. People who are not qualified, because it is understood the person who is qualified can give you what your form is. But if you're not qualified, then I can tell you, I've been to Radhakund. I spent some time in Radhakund before, and there are people, they're coming and they get Siddha Pranali, and then like 3 months later they leave. They go back to whatever, Uzbekistan, and then. So what's happened to your, what kind of initiation was that? Although there's some particular, there was this person is not present anymore, but I know one particular, you can say Baba, who was, he had his disciples, they have to chant for 10 years, 192 rounds. And after 10 years, they get initiation. That's, that's a little more realistic. So imagine if we have a new bhakti in here, and they say you have to chant 192 rounds first, then you get initiated. Anyways, I'm just saying this is how it's the line. But we are chanting Hare Krishna, and from chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be revealed. Either through inside the heart, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or through externally, through our guru, who will actually see that we are advanced enough and he will tell us, or one particular associate of Lord Chaitanya will come, or Krishna will come to us on a spiritual level, and he will tell us what to do next. So don't worry, we'll be taken care of in any case. So therefore, devotees actually don't need to worry anything. We just have to chant Hare Krishna and eat prasadam, and everything will be great. Our future is wonderful. Okay, is this satisfying to you, Prabhu? Thank you. Okay, let me do 5 minutes, just a little bit more about Krishna's childhood pastimes, because we are talking about Krishna's childhood pastimes. So this is from Nectar of Devotion. Srila Rupa Goswami describes Krishna's age in 3 periods. First period is from the day he was born until the 5th year. He's called Kumara. Or Kumar, Krishna Kumar. Nanda Kumar. Then from the beginning of the 6th year to the end of the 10th year is called Poganda. Poganda. And from the 11th to the 15th year is called Kishore. Kaishore. We know Krishna, there's a deity in Chicago temple is named Kishore Kishori. This is the age, of Krishna. So, and then after this, after the Kishore is beginning Yovana. Yovana is this Krishna's eternal form, Nava Yovanam Cha. And there's no more end. He doesn't get older than this. This is the oldest. And when you see, we just said, we came recently from one town here in Germany, and one devotee has 2 sons. And one is 17 and another is 16. And I was thinking, this is how Krishna Balaram look like. They're strong, they're exercise, they're strong, they're handsome, fresh, youth, 16 and 17. I was thinking, this is how Krishna Balaram look like, they're and eternally. So this is the best age. Best age for sense gratification, best age for, life is ahead of you. Every 16, 17 years old can tell you, I want to conquer the world. At least I thought that way, I don't know. But then after when you are 21, you think, nope, I'm going to join the Hare Krishna movement. I didn't conquer anything. Anyway, so this is it. So Krishna was born of whom? Who was Krishna's mother? Huh? No, let's say for the sake of Lila. Devaki, Mother Devaki. So this is interesting also. He was born in Mathura, in a jail, because we know Janmashtami, we hear every time the same, how Krishna was born in Mathura in jail. And because Mother Devaki was afraid that Kamsa will kill this child, so somehow everybody fell asleep, all the chokidars fell asleep, and chokidar means the guards. And somehow by mystic power of Yogamaya, the gates of jail was open, and Vasudeva brought the child. Sometimes it's pictures on the head, sometimes on the shoulder, across the Yamuna, because he had to, Yamuna was raging, the river was raging, the rain, the thunders and everything, so it was a very turbulent night, the weather-wise. So he was taking the child to Gokula to save the child. So he somehow brought it there, and at the same time, Madhya Yashoda had a baby girl. So Vasudeva thought, how about if I exchange? So he exchanged the children, and he took the girl back. And in the morning, everybody woke up, and Yashoda, somehow by the grace of Yogamaya, she forgot, did I give birth to a male child or female child? I couldn't remember. Imagine. So she said, oh, this is our son, Krishna. And this is how Krishna... On the other hand, in the jail, Kamsa came to kill the 8th child, and Durga Devi just appeared in the sky. He said, you fool, I'm a Durga Devi. I could smash you in a second. But the child you want to kill is already born somewhere else. And Kamsa was totally flipped out, and so on and so forth. He started meditating on Krishna and thinking about Krishna. So this is the beginning of how Mother Yashoda. But in reality, Mother Yashoda is the eternal servant, eternal mother of Krishna. Prabhupada says. And Prabhupada says by sadhana you cannot attain the position of Mother Yashoda. Like now we want to chant and I pray to my then we become Mother Yashoda. We push Mother Yashoda aside. I am the Mother Yashoda now. Like Indra in Shrimad-Bhagavatam is described. Indra was afraid if somebody does, Prithu Maharaj would do 100 sacrifices, Ashwamedha Yagyas, that he become Indra, then I lose the position. There's no such a thing. You cannot become Mother Yashoda. Prabhupada says you cannot become gopis. Gopis is the internal energy of Krishna. You cannot become suddenly, gopis or Radharani or Ladita. It's not possible. But we can become servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of these devotees. So, this is quickly. So, let's see, time is there. And there's a very nice verse I wanted to read also. This is the very nice verse from the Srimad-Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 23rd verse, where Uddhava was overwhelmed with the ecstasy, meditating on Krishna, and he said, "Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast." So this is very merciful. Krishna is very, very merciful. So we have to understand as devotees that Krishna is so merciful that even the demoness who want to kill him, he said, "Nah, she's like my mother." And Prabhupada says, gave a position, meaning she even went to spiritual world to relate to Krishna in a parental affection. Imagine. Such a merciful Lord. So what to speak of devotees who practice Krishna consciousness? So we should not be despaired. Sometimes it's going rough, sometimes it's going great. Sometimes we think, oh man, this Krishna consciousness, where is Krishna? I am suffering now. Krishna, where are you? I'm chanting for 6 years or 2 years and nothing happens and I'm suffering and Krishna doesn't exist and he doesn't know what am I going through. Devotees go through these phases of mode of ignorance, lamentation. Oh, and Krishna is sitting there, oh my God, just get over this, get over it. Because Krishna is very, very merciful. If he is merciful to demons, how much can be merciful towards us? So there's no need for desperation. With full power, full speed, we should go for morning programs, evening programs, chant Hare Krishna, serve Krishna, because Prabhupada says, don't think that this chanting and dancing will not bring the desired success. It will. This is the purport too. Nityananda. What is the song of Nityananda? Nityapada Kamala. Prabhupada says, don't think that this chanting and dancing will not bring the desired success. It will. So just keep on chanting and dancing and everything will be wonderful. And everything will be wonderful even in this life. It doesn't need to be for the next life. We can become realized in this life. And devotees who are practicing seriously, ultimately it doesn't mean if you're 20 years in movement or 30 years in the movement that then you're suddenly, after 30 years, something revealed. It will be also, but at the same time, it can be revealed immediately. We just have to go for it. And Krishna appreciates, there's no such a thing as time, or Krishna appreciates the endeavor. And what is important here at the end is that impurities are cleansed. By practicing Krishna consciousness, impurities are cleansed. The reason why we cannot associate with Krishna at the moment is because of the impurities. Prabhupada says here, the 9 different modes of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. He said, by regular hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the impurities of student's heart begin to wash off. The more one cleanses of impurities, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service, and gradually The activities take the form of steadiness, this is nishta, firm faith, taste, ruchi, realization, and assimilation, Prabhupada says it. One after the other. These are the different stages of gradual development to increase love of God, the highest stage. So by hearing the pastimes of Krishna, we get amazing just by hearing. We don't need to, people do exercise or people, I don't know, build a house, you have to dig the ground. You just have to sit and hear the pastimes of the Lord, which are pleasing anyways. This is very pleasing, Lord Krishna's Madhya Yashoda, cooking. So therefore, just by hearing, we'll slowly become cleansed and purified, and then we'll achieve these stages, nishta and ruchi, faith, taste, asakti, bhava. This is the very high stage of love of Krishna. So we can achieve all this. All of us who sit here, we can do this. We don't need to be special, sannyasi to it. You can also do, I can do, everybody can do. We just have to apply the process in our lives. We don't need to be famous, not famous, intelligent, not intelligent, doesn't matter. We have to just apply this process. Hearing, anybody can hear. If you just put nowadays, you have a YouTube, just put pastimes of Krishna and Yashoda and just listen, that's it. As simple as that. So, I thank you very much, and this was the introduction slowly to the spiritual world, the spiritual realm, the pastimes of Krishna, the particular pastimes with the Mother Yashoda, the glories of Mother Yashoda, and then we'll see later on how Krishna, the Sanatana Goswami comments on the 8 verses of Damodara. So, Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya.
So interessant. Es ist wirklich ein Geschenk.